Welcome back, crew. We've been on hiatus for a bit, but we are back at it with new videos and a brand new game of the month. This month, we are diving into a game I've been pretty hyped for the last year. If you watched my 2025 most anticipated games, this was at the top of the list. We are rolling out Daggerheart as our May June game of the month. So it's getting the full game of the month treatment. If you're new to the channel, what that means is we're going to go through and today go over our first impressions as well as an unboxing for the system. It came with a lot of cool goodies. After that, we're going to go through and show you how to build a character with the system. From there, we're going to show you the core mechanics, breaking down everything you need to know to resolve the skill rolls, handle combat, death, everything that goes with running a game with a Daggerheart rule set. And after that, we are going to dive into a live actual play of the system Wednesday, June 11th at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, where we are going to put the system through its paces. Show you a campaign utilizing one of my homebrew worlds, Kazuya, showing off how Daggerheart plays, its core mechanics, everything you need to know just to get a feel for this system. And as always, we're going to be raffling off a free PDF copy of the core rulebook to one lucky viewer. So make sure you guys come through, get a chance to hang out with us, see how the system plays, and hopefully win a free copy. And after that, we're going to go into our review of the system, wrapping the month up. Yeah, us dive into the kind of our first impressions, and I'll say this is kind of like second or third impressions. I actually got to play Daggerheart at Gen Con 2 years ago when it first unveiled, the first beta or play test for it. I've gotten to see the system develop, so this has been kind of fun getting to crack this one as it comes through, especially because it's in a category where I feel like I still don't have a favorite system yet. Right now, 13th Age is kind of sitting in that spot, 1E. But I'm excited to see what Daggerheart and 2E do for 13th Age because I love a new balanced system. And if you're new to the channel, the balanced systems are what I call ones that do a great job of blending kind of narrative elements and the narrative kind of keeping it kind of the story at the forefront, keeping things moving, not requiring a ton of time to build characters or resolve mechanic roles or things, just kind of keeping everything flowing in that narrative style moving while still having a very strong tactical element where you can go through and feel like you're making choices that matter within the mechanics for your character, having fun combats, having fun battles, just really getting that flavor and getting a mix of the mechanics with the flavor. That's really been a sweet spot for me, but I still haven't found my forever system, so I'm hoping this could be it. So we're going to be going through that, but as we're doing that, let's kind of show off some of the cool stuff you get with the base package. If you guys know me, I'm usually pretty cheap, but I always just usually get the base package, and typically that doesn't come with a lot of goodies. But the Daggerheart crew kind of went all out because with this you get this cool jacket. But within the jacket, you get the core rulebook, which so far really like the art, the different well-made pages, well-made book. Seems like they put some love and care into it. So you get the core rulebook as well as this, which includes a kind of look at their card system too. So with this, you get kind of their card system, which basically is kind of actual cards that references their spells, their abilities, their classes, their races, their communities, kind of everything you need to build a character. At the Gen Cons, when I played them before, they actually give you the cards with your abilities, your classes, all that as you're playing. So you can have that right next to you at the table and just make it easier to be able to go through and figure out exactly what everything does. So I like that they included that with. I'm looking forward to. Unfortunately, my game of the month will be digital, but definitely maybe at Gen Con or somewhere else, busting out my cards and getting a chance to kind of use those live at the table. So definitely great value there. I'm looking forward to showing off more of their art. I like the style that they went with it. So as you get to, as we dive into the book during our character creation as well as the mechanics video, I'll kind of point out some of my favorites as we get through there. But moving from there, just kind of into the system itself, we've done some coverage on the video or on the mechanics of the system before. And one of the big things we're going to be going through, especially as we dive into our full on mechanics video, is highlighting what's changed between the playtest and now, because it's been playtested for about 2 years, so there has to be some pretty major changes. So I'm kind of fun to see where they've tweaked it, where they've changed it, kind of compared to what we played in the past. But for those who are unfamiliar with it, it's one of the few D12 systems. Off the top of my head, the only other one I can remember that I've played or covered on the channel is Coyote and Crow. But this is another one that is pretty much all D12. You roll two D12s, one designated as your hope die, one is a fear die, and they have different mechanical impacts depending on which one's higher. You could and you add up those numbers still, but the die that had the higher number determines if you're rolling with hope or rolling with fear, and that can have different implications on kind of how that roll turns out for you between mechanical bonuses and narrative impacts. So we'll dive into that pretty heavily in our mechanics video, but it's something that I really enjoyed in both my Gen Con playtest of the system. Outside of that is a fantasy system. It's got a lot of the core fantasy staples. It is a class system where you can go through and pick your class. You get a subclass, and the nice thing too is you get different domain abilities, which are kind of almost like abilities like magic. In some cases, are magic. That just really grant some cool effects your character can bust out by utilizing the resources. We're going to go into that pretty heavily during our character creation section, but I've liked how they've done that. It makes it so even if you're the fighter, it feels like you've got cool things to do and flavorful things that you can build some narrative around for your character too, rather than just kind of saying, I swing my sword each time. But outside of that, they got the staples for the classes: the bard, the druid, ranger, rogue, sorcerer, wizard, warrior. Two somewhat unique ones for the system: the guardian, which is kind of all about defense, defending your own your allies, and kind of stopping blows from going through and using your high armor class or high kind of defensive status to be able to soak up some of the damages. And the seraph, which is kind of like a mix of cleric and paladin for this system. I'll probably end up building a Seraph. I think I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to put it open to a poll to see what the community wants us to build, utilizing the system just to kind of show off what Daggerheart can do. But it's got a lot of those things, so it makes it easy if you're transitioning from. And I think that's part of their design thing too, especially since they've done D&D for so long. If you've got a D&D campaign, if you had a Pathfinder campaign, or any fantasy fair, you've got the classes so far to be able to build at least a lot of your core, kind of the core common, kind of just archetypes and general fantasy things that are typical to see. Outside of the classes, one of the big things I want to give them a shout out for, this will come up in more depth during our review of the system, but they gave a great deal of the book space to GM resources, which is something I always appreciate because a lot of times that could be a whole nother book. But within this book, you've got a bestiary with about 40 pages of monsters, including rules on how to build your own monsters and some pretty in-depth things there. We may, depending on time, do a whole video just on the things they offer on the GM side of things, especially their monsters and how that fits into combat. But outside of that, they give you 5 campaign uh, frames, which are kind of like their adventures, but they make it so that they're very customizable, so the game master can go through and look at their pitch, look at the kind of the way they structure and tweak it to make it their own. But I always appreciate when games have adventures in the core rulebook, and they've got 5 of them of varying complexity, and let you know up front what those complexities are or what the complexity level is. So it's great too, especially if you're not planning on utilizing one of their adventures. It's still a great resource to be able to go through and see how the system designers feel the game should be played. It just gives you some tips, even if you're doing your homebrew thing like I usually do, just how you should structure it, how to play into the system strengths, or kind of what those designers thought their system strengths were. So big shout out for them to doing that. The outside of that too, it's just overall how to build combat, a lot of just GM focused things, which can sometimes get left out of that core rulebook. So I'm glad they made some effort to make it easy for the game masters to help their players learn this system. But overall, that was just kind of a quick look at our first impressions, or second or third impressions, we should say. Uh, I'm very excited for this system. I'm looking forward to our actual play on June 11th. But even just kind of diving in and seeing how this system's evolved over the 2 years since I first played it, and seeing kind of what space this will occupy, because I think this could be a really big really great resource. I wouldn't call it a D&D killer as some have had, but I think it could be a great resource alongside the MCDM RP Draw Steel, as well as Brandon Sanderson's Cosmere, for shedding some light on the independent game market, just with all these other kind of just systems that are out there, I think this would be a great one for getting that spotlight shined and opening up players who may have only played D&D up to a whole new world of TTRPGs. So I'm excited not just to see how this system plays, I'm excited to see what impact it has on the market. But overall, shout out below things that you want us to cover with the Daggerheart system. I'm going to throw a poll in our community section too to see what class you guys want us to build a PC for next week. But overall, we're back. We'll be back through, hopefully, pretty consistent with games of the month outside of this. We're going to be getting caught back up to with Godbound. We're going to figure out a date for get that back in there. But work slowed down a little bit, and I'm feeling better too. So we are back at it. But yeah, shout outs below, like, subscribe, let us know some of their favorite things about the Daggerheart system or things we should cover. And definitely don't forget to vote on our class that we're going to be doing for our PC creation video next Saturday. But overall, thank you all for hanging out and till next time.